Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for yet another live stream. And of course, we are here talking about IPL playoffs. As you all know, the two games are over now. Chennai Super Kings have made it to their 10th IPL final and they're on the quest for their fifth title to equal their arch rivals Mumbai Indians. But wait a minute, Mumbai Indians are also on that race. But Mumbai Indians have gone to defeat Lucknow Super Giants, and Lucknow Super Giants have been eliminated from the IPL through their eliminator. It was quite a one-sided game where Akash Madhwal equals Anil Kumble's figures of 5 for 5. Dream figures for any youngster in their debut season. A one hell of a bowling spell, one can say so. But I have Antariksh with me talking about it. Antariksh, I mean, we did say that first game, right? It was Chennai Super Kings going to have the advantage in Chennai, and they did show why they got that advantage, isn't it?
Oh, they certainly did. Coming on, as we have discussed previously, any stadium is home stadium as long as Dhoni is playing. But especially getting that qualifier one at Chepauk was always going to be a daunting task for someone like even the ilk of GT to get through. And we just witnessed a similar tale, a similar story. And yeah, man, Chennai Super Kings at their ruthless best in these games, going on their dependables, which they somehow keep creating every season.
Yeah.
These Indian players, untouched foreign players, if I would say.
Mm,
Not there's this uncapped, but I would say unnoticed, untouched.
mm.
No, don't
Yeah.
forget they had the likes of Ben Stokes who've gone missing in
Yeah.
the wild, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they have the Patiranas of this world who are actually working for
Yeah.
them.
Absolutely.
So yes, man, it was Chennai Super Kings in a nutshell, and also then again another champion team, Mumbai Indians, showing why they're they have the most number of trophies because they
Yeah.
are made of different metal, and they just keep doing it. It's a Mumbai thing, starting out slow, letting other people think they have a sniff, and then just striking at the right
Absolutely.
time.
I mean, we did speak about it during our Monday stream as well. But let's talk about the game in specific, Chennai versus Gujarat, because Chennai won the toss. Chennai lost the toss rather than Gujarat put Chennai to
Hmm.
bat, which is very surprising to me considering that
Yeah.
Chennai wicket, it's extremely hard to chase. But you just saw once Chennai knew the ball was turning, they were totally in a Jadeja and Tikshana, they were all over Gujarat like a spinning web. Even Shubman Gill couldn't do much. He scored 42, but that was not good enough. And everybody fell in regular intervals. And we have to talk about Hardik Pandya as well. We did speak about him specifically. We did say that if Gujarat has to make a move in the finals, Hardik has to come good in one of the games. What did you make of that
Yeah.
chase? Because it just looked like Gujarat were totally not in it. If not for Rashid Khan's end blitz, this could have been a lot of difference in terms of the margin of defeat they would have had to face.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty surprised. I don't remember I think it was that Surya Kumar's 100 game, wherein Rashid Khan played another blinder. I think had GT won, or had there been more number of balls, I think his innings would have
Yeah.
been better than Surya Kumar's. When he
Mm.
played that blinder of a knock, and
Yeah.
I'm really surprised with the use of Rashid Khan in batting. They seem to go with Rahul Tewatia time in and time again. Maybe even Vijay Shankar. Like when you can on these knockout games, and these knockout games on pitches like Chepauk, even if you get in Rashid Khan and he gets a quick fire 25, that just shifts the momentum of the game because whatever
Absolutely.
be the pitch, whatever be the occasion, if the asking rate goes down from 10 and a half to maybe 9, 8.75, the equation changes. Then the likes of Vijay Shankar, can use their technique in a much effective way. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
surprised as to why Rashid Khan is, left with this job of doing an impossible, doing a rinku sing, if I may. So exactly. But yeah, I too was surprised that Chennai were made to bat first. But Chennai is sticking to their principles. They knew, anything above 165, 170 on this pitch is, and with the added pressure, is
Yeah.
above par, and that's what they did. I
Absolutely.
of course, there are the innings of their openers which would need mention, but these
Yeah.
quick fire 17s and 20s by their middle order and late middle order batsmen help the cause. There are not a lot of teams that actually do that. There are a lot of teams who get these 17, 18 runs, but they cost them 15, 16 balls, so like 100 strike rate. But these guys come in, they play a couple of dot balls, they bang in a couple of sixes, a boundary here and
Yeah.
there, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's like quick fire 9, 10 balls, 17, 18,
Yeah.
which really helped the total go that much bit further. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about Chennai Super Kings because they've been a team to beat this season for sure. But we've seen that in 2021 as well. After having a very mediocre season in 2020, where they ended up being on the sixth position, the way they came back in that 2021 season was just a testament of what that team is made up of by going on to win. Once again, 2022, they had a horrific season, ending up ninth on the table. Then again, 2023, right there, making it to finals. I mean, you have to say there's something right which they are doing which we can't see up there in the screen because they're playing good cricket for sure, but it's just that belief, right, that they can do it. Once they're in the playoff, it's their territory. No matter what team you are, we can possibly, outpower you, overpower you. Even Gujarat was Chennai. We did speak about that record which they had against Gujarat Titans. They had not won a single game against Gujarat Titans, but come the moment, come the most important game, they got one past them, and which gives them an entry into the final straight up.
Of course, I mean, we see with champion teams, all around football, for that example, they have this consistent, settled XI, and they win a couple of championships, like we're seeing with City, and then they reshuffle a couple of players. They don't reshuffle the squad, they never do that. But we've seen the examples of Punjab, we've seen Delhi, we recently saw KKR do that, Rajasthan Royals for that matter. Almost every other team does that. But since the inception of IPL, we've seen even some players going on till now for Chennai Super Kings, the likes of Dhoni and Jadeja soon followed. Of course, he was there at RR, but then soon came into CSK. So there's that level of consistency that is there with them. So you see the likes of Ruturaj Gaikwad. When they first come in, not much pressure is put onto them, right? You have your Ambati Raidus of this world who are still in their a good sort
Yeah.
of good phase, and then they take over. But then they're allowed to set in bit by bit, bit by bit. They had Faf du Plessis, who was the anchor
Mm.
there, and then now suddenly they have Devon Conway, and Gaikwad becomes the anchor. So like it's bits like these. You remember they had the likes of Shadab Jakati, Ben
Mhm.
Hilfenhaus, and
Yeah.
not the biggest names in the world, not the best
Yeah.
names in the world, but people who did.
Yeah.
They had Joginder Sharma. It just pops in my head. So the famous man. So Mohit Sharma. So they just have people who just do a job, for Dhoni, and they groom them. They give them time. They give them years, and then they blossom into CSK specific players. I'd say it's not necessary they go on to have brilliant international careers, one of the best, but they have very fulfilling CSK
Yeah.
careers in the yellow jersey. So that is something we sort of fail to see, but I
Yeah.
think that should be really, really, really applauded.
Absolutely, because I always felt like it is just the group of people how they're managed. We often talk. Even Robin Uthappa recently came out saying how the management really backs him, how the management really gave him that extra bit of life after his stint with RR and KKR, and he went on to be an IPL champion in 2021. So that's what you're talking about, right? How you can manage the players, how you make them feel at home compared to any other franchise. I mean, off the field work, what you don't see on the screen, is something which they're doing very well. The management, the whole CSK setup, we talk about the India Cements Group or whatever, the coaching staff. I mean, Stephen Fleming, for example, I think he's been one of the most, he's the best possible T20 coach out there because of what he's doing with Chennai Super Kings. I mean, we're talking about making it to playoffs almost every season, and not just that, and just to add to that, 10 IPL finals. They have played in 13 finals, 13 IPLs, and they made it to 10 IPL finals. I mean, that in itself is a crazy stat to have, isn't it? Because your success percentage is more than 90 to make it to the finals. Talk about that. What is that which really pushes them forward? Because you didn't mention about the players, but making it to 10 IPL finals is no mean feat. I know the success percentage in finals
Hmm.
are less than 50 percentage because they've only won 4 out of it, but still making it to 10 IPL finals, it's a dream for a lot of other teams.
Oh, it is. It's a distant dream for some teams to make it to one. So let alone 10 now. And as I mentioned, the players, and then you mentioned the coaches, and now there are players who are turning into coaches with the likes of Bravo coming into the
Yeah.
dressing room and settling in as if they were any other person. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, I just think it has to be the consistency. It has to sort of be that belief in MS Dhoni. And I mean, it could have its cons now that he is seemingly coming to the periphery of
Yeah.
his beautiful stint in the yellow jersey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just consistency all around. I think it's belief all around, and it goes hand in hand. They had early success.
Absolutely.
They started showing signs of domination in IPL, and that has gone on. from 8, 9, 10 to now like 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So 21,
Absolutely.
20, 23. Beg your pardon.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I think it's just that, and just the full support of the whole management, from the whole management into the whole, the group who controls everything. I think it's that. I think it's just
I
phenomenal.
totally
They
agree
have
with you on
God's
that
hand
because
over them, is all I'm
yeah,
gonna say.
it's just intricate details which matter a lot, especially in terms of how you manage your team and setup. Especially in cricket, you don't need a lot of coaching in IPL. People often say IPL, why isn't this player improving his technique? But I don't think IPL is about coaching. IPL is about managing these players, keeping them in a good headspace, because then they can go on to do well. Because all these players are selected because they are talented. The players who are not playing, maybe the youngsters, they are groomed better, but these international pros or domestic pros who are coming in are talented enough to play. It's just about giving them that
Yeah.
confidence, because 2 months is such a short time to coach them and put them into a park, because then you are already losing out on things. But yeah, Kundan says a very interesting point. Gill looked very tired against Chennai Super Kings. One factor which, being an RCB fan as well, I really felt they shouldn't have played their A team against RCB, in that maybe one can say not a consequential game. They were already in it. And then they had a game in 1 day break. They had to travel to Chennai. But Chennai Bangalore is not so far away, but then still have to travel to Chennai. Considering the weather in Chennai, Chennai is a very muggy condition, right? You are going to be drained out in Chennai even if you just play one game. Do you think that affected the entire GT team? Because you also felt Shami, yeah, he was swinging the ball, but he looked very tired towards the latter end. Yeah, let's talk about some of the other players. Riddhiman Saha, for that matter, he looked extremely jaded. Hardik Pandya also looked jaded. A lot of the players, including Vijay Shankar, even Shubman Gill, they looked tired the moment they stepped into that qualifier number one, because they played a high intensity game in Chinnaswamy and they were playing a game in 2 days' time. Just a day time. Just a day's break is all what they had. Not even a day's break for that matter, because they had a travel day and the match day. So you reckon that was where Gujarat could have possibly corrected themselves? Maybe could have given rest in the RCB game. Maybe would have worked in RCB's favor as well. Maybe being an RCB fan, just plugging it right there. But other than that, they would have maybe played much better against Chennai Super Kings if they would have had that rest.
Whether it had an effect or not, I just think it has to be poor management. Even at not at the time of qualifiers, teams usually get a break of 3 to 4 days, on an average. And to get a day's break for a game as big as the qualifier is just, I mean, poor management. If not everyone, I could see the point of maybe playing someone like Shubman Gill. He's chasing his personal accolade of the orange cap, although some might disagree and say he's one of the main players who should have been rested. But if you're at least not going to rest a couple of players, rest some other couple of players. You have to. I mean, it would have been good. If someone gets injured, they always have that player in hand who can come in and who has sort of stepped up to the plate. So yeah, I think it was really poor management, and whether it had an effect or not, that's an aftermath. But just the actions weren't good enough from the team, and yes, I sort of agree with the point. And another thing which I adore about Gill is, this there is this thing in cricket, when teams start losing wickets, when the main player sort of is there, but they have the ability to score, but they can't really do that because if they get out, then what? But I've seen with Shubman Gill, even in that RCB chase, when things were looking a bit cheesy for them, he was not afraid to lift his bat up and hit those sixes. He wasn't looking to keep the ball grounded or play a, get a couple here and there. He was playing those big shots. But that Chepauk pitch and that occasion just got the best out of him. And I don't even think it's entirely Gill's fault. I just think like there was just too much over dependence on him, and he
Yeah.
was he was looking to
I mean, what
seek
could
the
he
right
have
moment.
done?
But
There was wickets falling in one end, and he wasn't getting any partnerships to be built upon as well. I thought the game was just one partnership away. If there was 170-run partnership, maybe with Gill and someone else, maybe with Hardik, this could have been Gujarat's game. If you look at the margin of defeat, it's just 16 runs at the end of the day, and that's what we are talking about.
Ab- Absolutely, absolutely, and that is what as I mentioned, Rashid Khan's innings could have been pushed a bit further, and then the likes of as we discussed, the rest factor and stuff could have been there. So yeah, man, I mean, a lot of small intricate details have gone into this, and eventually led to yeah, the defeat. And Chennai Super Kings are the masters of this. It's their 10th
Yeah,
IPL final, so it is there for reasons we've mentioned. So yeah, just
absolutely.
just
I mean,
just
yeah,
a
Gujarat.
just a overall presentation of professionalism from CSK.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we have to say Gujarat has got one more chance, but LSG definitely doesn't. So let's talk about that game where Mumbai Indians looked at their absolute best with the bat. They lost a couple of wickets in the power play, but they just kept going. Cameron Green, Surya Kumar Yadav, towards the end, Tilak Verma, Nehal Vadera. We didn't mention about these players before the playoffs, of course, and that's exactly what they did. Players stepping up when it mattered the most, and Akash Madwal to top it off. LSD were blown away, completely blown away by the Mumbai Indians and their experience in playing in playoffs. You have talked about some of the players who now hasn't played a single match in playoff, but it's just teams' belief of being there and done it previously, isn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. I'm a big believer in the history, the sort of the confidence, the you have done it before, been there, done it factor in sports. I'm a huge believer of that in football and in cricket. So I
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
believe there's a reason why there are certain teams that just keep grinding it out in spite being very sort of poor at the beginning or being ruled out. And these are teams like Mumbai Indians who show us repeatedly that there is a reason that they do that, and you have to sort of applaud. He may not have been the perfect sort of batsman for them as of yet, but Rohit Sharma, there is something about them. We discussed in previous live streams of ours that how many setbacks they faced this year. Like they imagine if they were full strength. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows? So like, I mean, getting the best out of the local lads, the lads from Mumbai and stuff. Like it's
yeah,
these are the things that make up a team. The
yeah,
sort of the DNA of a team, and you see that
yeah.
onto the pitch when they go into the latter half of the competition. So yeah, just again a team which looked that they have been there and done it on the occasion.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just what we talk about Mumbai Indians and the legacy as well. But let's talk about Lucknow Super Giants. You were that's the run out number of run outs what you saw yesterday. Very little surprised because it just looked like they were ready to give up so early in the game. There was no intent. There was not a lot of no, there was not a lot of intent which was put into that chase. They looked good at one point in stage, 72 for two at the strategic timeout phase, and from there on falling apart like a flock of cards. They just fell apart in a way which nobody saw it coming. And they were what, seven down under 100 and 101 all out. Because and to add to that, three crucial runouts. Crucial runouts, what I'm talking about. I mean, some of the runouts came to the latter end, but then it just looked like there was no coordination, there was no intent, there was no belief. It was just like, let's just go out there and do whatever we want to do. Until you're on mute.
Right. I was saying that Marcus Stoinis run out sort of reminded me, if you remember, the Champions Trophy final, which we lost to Pakistan. And
Yeah,
I think it was Hardik Pandya who's just going bonkers on the spinners of
yeah,
Pakistan. And suddenly Jadeja just did a mad one, and you just couldn't believe what just happened. And Hardik gave him that look. It was the same situation wherein LSG weren't in a pretty situation, but Marcus Stoinis was like looking, this could be his night, or at least he could drag them back on. But just in a flash, mix up, it got carried away. And yes, absolutely, the lack of concentration showed, and just there that they were just out there to enjoy themselves in a bad way, I'd say, not in the good way we know. And they were just there to be present, it felt. And three runouts, I mean, there should be questions on players. Like you can have one and max couple, like three runouts in a game, whatever the situation may be, as you said, later half. But even if you've lost the game, you can't really, have three runouts in a do or die game. So
yeah.
that does really sort of sound alarms. But again, LSG, as we talked after the setbacks they have faced, maybe we called it blessing in disguise, but whatever it was, a decent season for them as well. And Mumbai Indians, as we just said, expected out of them a champion team, showing why they've been the most sort of decorated team in the history.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to admit that they just fell to the pressure of the playoffs, maybe, and you just saw some of the team selections also were quite baffling. Not to have Quinton de Kock, while he was playing pretty well on that wicket, because Quinton de Kock has been there and done it as well, right? Quinton de
Yeah.
Kock was one player who's won IPL championships for Mumbai Indians 2 consecutive years. Very little surprise to the team selection of Lucknow Super Giants. I know Kyle Mayers had a good initial phase of the IPL, but then you're talking about a caliber of Quinton de Kock against his former team who can possibly produce something magical. And that's a caliber which Quinton de Kock carries across the world wherever he plays.
Absolutely. I mean, Quinton de Kock can be one hell of a player if he gets going, and he has this tendency of doing well in these big games. in these finals and stuff. And I remember him playing that Mumbai Indians final, and he sort of let go of a wide, and it went for 5 runs, and then Bumrah saved them. I think it was against CSK. And
Yeah,
there are conspiracy theorists going all around. You can fill out the other two teams. The final is as always going to be between CSK and Mumbai, and I think it seems to be going exactly that way. But it's going to be interesting as to how things unfold now. But yes, strange selection in letting Quinton de Kock not start. And as we saw, Kyle Mayers, he had an explosive start, but since then gone downhill, and like downhill really fast. So disappointing there. But as I said, a decent enough season for LSG.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, they should be proud of what happened because they lost KL Rahul midway in the season. From there to pick themselves up, and just to make it to the playoffs in itself is a big deal. Remember, they had some luck going their way as well with that game against KKR, or for that matter, some of the games which came very close. The rained out game against Chennai Super Kings. You have to say in hindsight, if those things would not have gone their way, LSU would not even have made it to the playoffs. So, things did go in their favor. Let's talk about tomorrow's game because it's a big game. GT
Oh,
versus five-time champions, defending champions or five-time champions. How do you see that? Because it's a massive, massive game. Now it's 1-1 in the league so far. Mumbai had one win the last time around, and Gujarat did defeat them in Ahmedabad the last time these two teams met. You reckon Gujarat starts as favorites because it's in Ahmedabad, and to add to that fact that Mumbai Indians, I know the momentum factor is always with Mumbai Indians at this point of stage, but then the home ground factor, and also to add to that, Gujarat does not lose two games in a trot more often than not.
absolutely. But as we discuss, I like to draw parallels with football. But as we discuss with these champion sides, you can never rule them off. You just can't. You just can't. I don't even. I can't say the word favorites against Mumbai Indians in a game that's going to take you to the finals. I just can't. Like this won't let me. My logic won't let me rather than that. So yeah, man. But the home advantage for sure. Home advantage
Yeah,
for sure. Ahmedabad. But you know, I mean, it would play into their hands for sure. But it's going to be the situation. I think that's going to be the king tomorrow. It's who plays the situation better, who plays the pressure better, and Gujarat Titans. The biggest advantage that they have is the players they have. Couple of them click on one day in terms of the batting unit, 200s 200's a meager task,
yeah,
just two of them clicking. Because when Shubman clicks, half the runs are made. Then you
yeah.
find half the runs from a couple of sources.
Mm,
So
mm,
that is that. And with Mumbai Indians, what they'd really be, requiring would be, what they've been recently getting. Small contributions from everywhere, be it
mm.
bowling, be it batting. That's the biggest strength. Of course, Cameron Green got that 100 and he took the. But we've seen Nehal Wadra and the local Indian guys joining him, getting those 30s, getting those 40s, and
Yeah,
pushing Mumbai Indians up the line. Or they have their maestro of their own and Surya Kumar, who could
mm,
just play a blinder and it's all done and
absolutely.
dusted. And also, we've talked about the little Kohli-aged guy, Piyush Chawla. So,
Yeah,
who was having one hell of a season. So, good. It's going to be a good leggy battle.
yeah.
We see two twins there facing Piyush Chawla and the other spin attack of Mumbai Indians. So very big game, and I just again believe that whoever is going to play the situation better would be the dominant
Yeah,
side.
I don't think even toss is going to decide tomorrow's game like what you saw in Chennai,
Yeah,
because in Chennai you get that slight bit of advantage batting first, but I think it's going to be even Stevens considering the occasion, considering it's an eliminator after all. And I know it's
yeah,
qualifier number two, but then it's eliminator. Who loses goes out of the tournament, and who wins will get a chance in the final. I still believe it's going to be decided between two teams who are going to really handle the pressure better. The moments we often don't talk about
yeah,
moments in T20 games, but then phases of the game. If you can capitalize on the power play, not to lose a lot of wickets, then you are ahead of the game. And if Mumbai Indians go on to lose a couple of wickets with new ball attack of Gujarat Titans, they could be slightly vulnerable. And at the same
yeah,
time, how does Gujarat stop the firepower of Surya Kumar Yadav and Cam Green in the middle? If they can stop that and maybe even contain them to an extent, then Gujarat will certainly believe that they can possibly chase the score down or defend any total as well. Because Mumbai Indians at this point of stage, it's momentum is maybe a mere word for me, but then I think it's just that force of nature which is just pushing them. The players are stepping up, peaking at the right time in different situations. I mean, I have talked about Akash Madwal once again. What a phenomenal find in this season. 9 wickets in 2 games already now. 5 wicket haul in playoffs is no mere joke. I mean, not a lot of players have done. Not a lot of players have picked up 5 wickets for that matter. There's just 31 5 wickets in the IPL history. And to add to that, in playoffs when it matters the most, and look at those figures, 5 for 5. Man, it's dream stuff. If you're Akash Madwal dreaming it a couple of years ago, you would want to be dreaming these things.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, 9 wickets already. And what better could you have asked for? And find, like a late find, but a find nonetheless. And he looks to be a very exciting prospect, and getting the job done in the most pressure situations is something that people around the world look out for. And what a beautiful way for him to grace the stage and enlighten his team. I was just pretty delighted, because one thing we've seen, there has been a lot of firepower in terms of batting this season. But when it comes to bowling, we've gone to the old guns and said they've done well. The likes of Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami, Piyush Chawla. There weren't many sort of bowlers who stood up and put their hand up. But he is one, and pretty buzzed about him. Let's see like what the future holds for him, the next IPL,
Absolutely.
and then possibly the blue jersey calling.
Truly, and you're playing under Indian captain, so you tend to get noticed quicker than anywhere else, and that's one thing. And I like his development. It's pretty much like Bumrah, who was thrown right in the midst of things in 2013, and he blossomed. And he's got a very similar thing. He balls a lot of Yorkers, and he's very pinpoint accurate in terms of doing that as well. It's not like he gets ruffled up, and even he's been groomed well. He's been groomed for a couple of seasons under Mumbai Indians camp now, and finally he's blossoming. So that's one good factor. But before we end the stream, any predictions for tomorrow? I know we told that it's very hard to predict, but if you were to choose one team to face Chennai Super Kings in that final on 28th, who do you think have their noses ahead at this point of
No,
the stage?
it's it's 50-50 as it gets, man.
But if
I
you were to
just
pick up a favorite at this point
yeah,
of stage, in the
I
two
would have
left,
to think. Like, I don't have a team in my mind. Like, I'd have to really apply and think who I'd choose. And I think I somehow I just feel I'll
okay,
go
let's pick
with
a player.
my.
Leave the team. Pick a player to watch out for.
Oh, all
Like
right,
who do you?
player. I think Surya Kumar.
Yeah,
I think Surya Kumar is there to see, and I think for the other side, these are batsmen. I think Shubman Gill for sure. I'd go with the cliche pick, but Shubman Gill and Surya Kumar for me. I think that both of them have
yeah.
a massive responsibility, and I think
Hmm.
both of them would deliver in some form.
Absolutely. I also picked Surya Kumar Yadav, but I'm going with David Miller for the Gujarat Titans. I
Oh,
just have a feeling. I just have
right.
this funny feeling that he might come good in some one of these games. He can come
I
in and
hope.
play
I
his
hope.
plays.
I
That's
when
one thing.
he hits them clean and so pure. It's just a joy to watch. His bat swing is one of the best in the world.
Absolutely. So that's why I think David Miller against a team like Mumbai Indians, he might just be the deciding factor. If he gets going on that good wicket, it's hard to stop them. Then it's going to be the
Yeah.
margin, which he's going to decide who's going to go into that final. So I'm just picking David Miller and Surya Kumar Yadav because I believe Surya Kumar Yadav, if he gets going, then Mumbai Indians have their noses ahead in the final, and similarly for David Miller as well. Let's see how it happens because we've got a question CSK to win again. Interesting. Final thoughts before we end. CSK to win again or
Uh,
Gujarat getting the second on the draw? Or
let's see,
Mumbai getting
man.
the second?
Don't ask us questions now, man. We'll be up before the final. Let's talk about
Yeah.
it then. Let's see
Yeah,
who
yeah.
the
That's gonna be
finalists
better
are.
because then we can know
Yeah,
what's to focus. Let's
yeah,
focus on tomorrow's game because I think we'll be
yeah.
back day after tomorrow once again to do a live stream and to talk about it because then we are building up to the final. Then we can see who's gonna get that first, who's gonna get
Mhm.
that big trophy. Is it gonna be CSK getting the record of 5 or Mumbai Indians 6 or Gujarat 2? So that's what. Last IPL for Dhoni. Nah, same thing, man.
He
It's
wants to
hard to
get
say.
everything right now. See you day after tomorrow, Prakash, man. See you day.
Yeah, see you day after tomorrow. But let's talk about it. I mean, that one question, I don't think anybody in Indian cricket or in world cricket can answer it except Dhoni himself. I don't think
Even
is he
Dhoni,
close
man,
to it right.
even Dhoni. Look at his
Yeah,
retirement. Like, he just sat down for like a year at his home and then said, "I don't feel like playing now."
yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
So
That's
yeah,
it. So that's what we're
that's
talking about,
Dhoni.
right? That is Dhoni. He doesn't reveal anything. One day you might just see an Instagram post saying that I call it quits. Thank you, Chennai, and you just have to accept it. So that's Dhoni for
Yeah,
you. He's not a lot of. He doesn't like farewell games, as he says. He
yeah.
might just drop a bomb before we even when we don't even anticipate it. But yeah, let's see if he wins it. That's going to be like the last dance where you talk about Michael Jordan and the ending and everything. That's going to be something very similar to that. So let's hope whatever happens. Thank you for joining our stream, guys. It was pleasure taking all the questions and talking about the two matches which already took place. So tomorrow we're going to see the qualify number 2 and the final, which awaits us. We are going to see possibly another IPL champion from the three teams who have already won the IPL. So it's no more new champions. So as Lucknow are out, it's going to be the same old guns again fighting it out for the trophy. So we are going to be back day after tomorrow. So do remember to join us. I think we're going to be back in the same time, 8 o'clock to 8:30. So we'll keep you updated with that as well. Do not forget to check out our courses. The link is in the description. If you haven't already followed our Instagram page, do check that out. You'll get latest sporting updates across the world, and also to subscribe to this channel so we can keep bringing you all the latest content on sports. Thank you and have a good time, all of you. Bye bye.